Welcome to Collaborative Inquiry for Students, Section 4, Part 1, Dream, Envision the End, Introduction. In the Discover phase of Section 1, we discovered or laid the foundation for collaborative inquiry and learned the models in the spectrum of collaborative inquiry. In the Discover phase of Section 2, we discovered the compelling whys for implementing collaborative inquiry for students. In the Discover phase of Section 3, you discovered strategies for teaching collaboration skills to students. On the spectrum of collaborative inquiry, you have experienced individual inquiry-based learning, problem-based learning, hypothesis-based learning, project-based learning, and appreciative inquiry. In Section 4, we move to the dream phase of our appreciative inquiry model and discuss what it means to envision the end, the destination, the outcome of our collaborative inquiry experiences. Please locate page 145, Section 4, Dream, Envision the End, and follow along as I read the opening quotation. To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle, requires creative imagination and marks real advance in science. Our students live and learn in an ever-changing world. We want them to have the ability to question, to have creative imaginations, and search for new possibilities. Please locate page 146, Topic Questions for Section 4. Our topic questions for this section state, how do essential and topic questions drive collaborative inquiry? How does assessment provide acceptable evidence of learning? In this section, we will discuss writing essential and topic questions aligned to curriculum standards. We will also explore various types of assessment you can use for collaborative inquiry experiences. In addition, we will continue to explore models on the spectrum of collaborative inquiry. The overview and objectives for this section are listed next on page 146. On page 147, Dream, Envision the End, you will find a section map of the major topics contained in this section. In this section, we discuss what it means to envision the end of collaborative inquiry experiences. You will experience poetry in motion, the performance-based learning model of collaborative inquiry. We examine the backward design of structuring collaborative inquiry. You learn how to write effective essential questions that connect to the heart of the discipline. You learn to write topic questions that drive the learning goals and objectives. Then we examine several assessment topics as they relate to collaborative inquiry. You will create assessments and experience another hypothesis-based learning model of collaborative inquiry, the dinosaur dig. Once again, you will meet with your EduQuest team to add what you have learned in this section to your EduQuest collaborative inquiry experience. Please locate page 148, Research Excerpts, and read the excerpts highlighting any piece of research that resonates with you. Now that you've finished reading the research excerpts, what insights emerged from your sharing and discussion? Did you discuss how asking good questions is a critical component of effective problem solving? Did you like the idea of developing learning experiences for students that stress a deeper understanding rather than just recall of information? Do you agree that the debriefing component is essential to inquiry experiences so students see beyond the activity and make connections to the content? Remember, as you learn from the research excerpts, we add focus and relevance to collaborative inquiry when the experience answers a meaningful essential question. You also read the various forms of assessment, including debriefing, are essential to effective collaborative inquiry. These topics are crucial components of envisioning the end. knowing your destination, and planning a collaborative inquiry experience. We must understand the purpose and objective of the collaborative inquiry experiences we design and what we hope to accomplish. This section is entitled Dream, Envision the End. According to Copywriter, the dream phase of the appreciative inquiry model is described as an energized exploration of what might be. Please locate page 149, Dream, Envision the End. Individually, read the paragraphs at the top of the page and highlight important points. Then turn your attention to the bottom of page 149. What does it mean to dream? Work individually and list words that describe what you do when you dream. For example, when you dream, you envision. Post your responses in Canvas Modules, Section 4, Part 1, Dream, Envision the End discussion area. What words did you list that describe what you do when you dream? Some might say they wonder, imagine, predict, think outside the box, conceive, create, idealize, and perhaps invent. Remember, throughout this section we will discuss the various aspects of dream, envision the end. We will discuss how to envision or imagine the outcomes by establishing an essential question, topic questions, and then designing appropriate assessments. When we dream, we determine our destination, just like you did with your dream quest. We determine what we want our students to know and be able to do. With the destination in mind, we can begin to design and plan the journey. At various times throughout the course, you have experienced each of the models on the spectrum of collaborative inquiry. Before delving into the topic of essential questions, topic questions, and assessments, we will give you another opportunity to experience one of the collaborative inquiry models. Please locate page 150, Spectrum of Collaborative Inquiry. Notice that our pointer is now under the model Performance-Based Learning. Performance-based learning requires students to demonstrate knowledge and skills in authentic ways. Remember that performance-based learning is more than art, drama, and music. It involves the demonstration of any discipline in real and authentic ways. You can ask students to cook a meal, sew in original fashion, make a chest of wood, play a sport, reenact an event in history, produce a skit on a novel, or synthesize any content learned in a new and authentic manner. Please locate pages 151 and 152, Poetry in Motion. Review the template and familiarize yourself with the experience. For this experience, pay special attention to the essential question and topic questions for Poetry in Motion, because later in the section you will learn how to write essential questions and topic questions. For this collaborative inquiry experience, the essential question and topic questions are: Essential question: how does poetry help us express our feelings and emotions? Topic questions: how do we create feelings and emotions in poetry? How do you express poetry through motion? Also, notice the goals and objectives. Goals and objectives springboard off of the topic questions and drive the collaborative inquiry process. Notice that in this experience you will focus on and practice the life and career skill of productivity. Remove your 21st Century Skills card from your course folder. Read the bulleted items under Productivity. You will also focus on and practice the team component of team member strengths. Recall your profile booklets and share team members' strengths. Let's review what your group will do in this collaborative inquiry experience. Please locate pages 153 and 154, Forms of Poetry. Your group will conduct a poetry read-aloud of the examples provided. You will compare and contrast the different forms of poetry and discuss the feelings and emotions each type of poetry evokes. Organize the process for your tribe by doing the following. Decide which person is responsible for writing each type of poetry. Brainstorm potential topics for your poetry and various adverbs and adjectives that could be used. Please go to Canvas, Modules, Section 4, Part 1, Poetry in Motion to collaborate with your group. Once your group members submit their draft poem, give feedback and suggestions to one another. Record yourself reading your poem with the feelings and emotions the type of poetry evokes. It is strongly encouraged that you use a Zoom breakout room to plan this activity. Please coordinate this with your instructor. Please go to Canvas, Modules, Section 4, Part 1, Poetry in Motion Anthology. Your tribe's next task is to make an anthology of your poetry in a shared Google Slides presentation. Determine the order of the poetry in your anthology. Create a cover page and title for your anthology. Once your anthology has been assembled in Google Slides, the next step is to plan your Poetry in Motion performance. Design your Poetry in Motion performance. Choose one poem to demonstrate poetry in motion. Brainstorm ways to creatively express the chosen poem in motion. Utilize music, props, or any supplies provided you have in your home. Make sure your entire tribe is part of the experience. Be sure to rehearse your Poetry in Motion performance. Record your Poetry in Motion performance using Zoom conferences or a recording site of your choice and upload the video or web link to the discussion area. At the next Zoom meeting, do a standing ovation for the poetry performance. Previously, I mentioned that you would do a reflective assessment for this experience. We are going to do a verbal point self-assessment and have you reflect on your contribution to the experience. If you were a productive member of your team during the poetry writing, give yourself a point. If you were an active member of the Poetry in Motion performance, give yourself a point. If you were conscious of team member strengths during the time you worked together, give yourself a point. If you are a creative person, give yourself a point. If you like poetry writing, give yourself a point. Now, wave your points in the air. Please locate page 156, Collaborative Inquiry Design Components, and highlight the components evident in this experience. What ideas do you have for adding the components you found missing? Students can research different forms of poetry like we had the option of doing. You can also invite a poet in to read poetry and work with the students. You can also add an interdisciplinary element by connecting it to a time period in history. Please locate page 157, Ideas for Performance-Based Learning. I want you to think beyond just the Poetry in Motion experience. Think of the performance-based learning model. On this page, list lessons or units you teach that would lend themselves to the performance-based learning model. What lesson or concept in your curriculum do you believe lends itself to performance-based learning? In math or science, Could you build a Pinewood Derby car while studying aerodynamics and then racing it? Could you make a kite or a paper airplane and fly it? Language arts. Could you act out a scene in a play or novel? Could you write a story? Social studies. Could you dance, sing, and tell folk tales from various time periods in history? Could you reenact historical events? PE and health. Could you play a sport, perform CPR on a model? Fine arts. Perform a piece of music, create a work of art, and perform a dramatic work. Practical arts. Perhaps you could change a tire, make a full course meal, knit a sweater, or format and type a report. Remember, adding an element of performance-based learning to your collaborative inquiry experience will enhance the authenticity, complexity, and level of engagement of your experience. We must spend time imagining and wondering how we can maximize the components of collaborative inquiry. We must begin to conceive a new vision for instruction and learning in the classroom. It begins in our mind, in our dreams, in our imagination. Please repeat after me. We've worked real hard and now it's time to take a break and clear our mind. Please stand and move and stretch as you are able. The rest of this session will be for you to work independently through the material. There will now be narrated PowerPoints on Canvas, Modules Section 4, Part 1, to walk you through the rest of today's activities. Please be sure to post the activities in the discussion area or submitted assignment area before our next class. Remember, even though these activities are not graded, they must be completed to report your successful completion to your university partner. Immediately after this introduction, please return to Canvas Modules Section 4.1, Part 1, Dream and Vision the End. Your first video will explore structuring collaborative inquiry, which follows the backward design model. Your second video will explain writing topic questions and goals and objectives, each following a format related to backward design. Your third video highlights writing essential questions and identifying the desired results we hope to achieve. Your final video reflects on the connections we made in this section and how we can apply the learning to our classrooms. Don't forget to check off that you have completed all section activities, including your section reflection. Let the good times begin. If you have any questions while you work, please call or email your instructor. This concludes Section 4, Part 1, Introduction. Please continue to Modules Section 4, Part 1, Dream and Vision the End, Structuring Collaborative Inquiry, Steps 1, 2, and 3.